Alrighty guys, welcome back to the G-Man Show. We're together again on the internet and we're going to talk about tax. It's a good topic. It gets everybody charged up and just what the Victorian government is doing to raise more taxes, putting their hands in everybody's pocket because they are broke. Let's jump into this. The link for this report is in the video description.
Farmer Tony Holt owns more than 1,000 hectares of agricultural land. Like millions of Victorians, Tony is facing a hefty rise to his rates notice because of a new state levy.
We're going to push back on it and we're not going to pay it.
Bloody good on you, Tony. I mean, you can push back, but at the end of the day, who knows what the government will do to get their money. They'll get it out of you. I think it's horrendous that farmers need to be protected, but it always seems like a lot of these farmers get squeezed. It's either by the government or it's by the larger corporations and that supply chain in which they provide the services for at the beginning of that supply chain.
From the country to the city, in the Melbourne suburb of Richmond, there's also anger, this time from a mayor who doesn't want to collect it on behalf of the Victorian state government.
My job is not to do Jacinta Allen's dirty work. If it gets so bad that all we can do is just have a town hall with a flag at the top and basically just vacuum clean the local residents on behalf of Jacinta Allen, close the freaking council down because I don't want to be part of it.
Oh, mate, this guy should be protected. Have a think about what they're doing. You got the Victorian government sitting there in a room somewhere, or in rooms, scheming on how to raise revenue. And what's the source of revenue for the government? It's the people. It is small and mid-sized businesses. It is people that can't fight back. Think about when they try and tax these large multinational corporations over and above what they're currently paying. There's a lot of litigation that goes on lobbying. Why? Because these huge companies, they hire tax lawyers, tax structuring experts, from global firms to help set up their tax affairs legally. So it's set up in a way where minimal tax gets paid in Australia. So what do they go and do? They start raising all these levies. So now they're putting this fire service or emergency services levy on farmers through their council rates, through their annual rates, and they're going to spike them up through the roof. So what do they think is going to happen? We have businesses struggling. Farmers have always traditionally run on pretty tough conditions. As I said, it's either Coles or your Woolworths or your they're always getting squeezed by their who they supply. So what do? Let's just go and crank up their taxes for an emergency services levy, for which those emergency services, now this was to my understanding voluntary services, where people bring their own equipment, they use their own time. There's no cost, or there's very minimal cost, and they're trying to push it as a required tax to keep these services going and fund those particular rural emergency services, which once again are for the most part self-funded by the people who volunteer their time and money to help. Think about all the tax that is put on small and medium businesses here in Victoria. Insolvencies are very high at the moment. They're not really telling you this. This isn't in the news. Economy is great, apparently. Everything's going good. Job done. Jimmy Chalmers and more specifically the Allen government doing a great job. Everything's ticking along well fine here. You got these small and medium businesses folding. Have a look at the statistics. It's in multiples of previous years, business failures. And then what do they want to go and do? Whack land taxes on. Whack huge. Well, not what they want to go and do. This is what they've done. Exorbitant land taxes. I had a story on here about a guy who ran a manufacturing business that manufactures or fabricates large, metal components for roads and for large-scale construction projects. And his land tax bill, because he had a factory out in Dandenong with a bit of land, so Dandenong's a suburb in Victoria, generally a lot of factories around there. He owned the land on which his business was on. His land tax went from, I think it was from 10 years ago, $12,000 or something like that, which is heaps then. Even $12,000 now I think is too much. No, it's gone to over $200,000 by 2025. Where do people expect to get this money from? So you got these bureaucrats, politicians who've never run a business, know nothing about how the world operates. Their whole career is funded by us, the taxpayer, and they just think money grows on trees. I know it's a bit of a rant there, but hey, that's why you're here.
The controversial tax is called the Emergency Services and Volunteers Fund and will raise hundreds of millions of dollars for a cash-strapped state government. The original Fire Services Property Levy exclusively funded the state's two major firefighting bodies, the volunteer-based Country Fire Authority and Fire Rescue Victoria. Under the newly named Emergency Services and Volunteers Fund, it will now be expanded to fund 7 different agencies, including CFA and Fire Rescue Victoria.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. I'm Ali.
Jacqueline Symes is Victoria's Treasurer.
Every dollar that is raised from the Emergency Services and Volunteer Fund goes to emergency services.
Once again, another person who's never had a real job. I'm making an assumption here, but you can tell the type. They've been sitting in a public-funded office, public service office their whole life, their whole career, working their way up through, not understanding the impacts it has to the wider community, or not caring. It's just give me my money, stuff you, F you, pay me. We don't give a stuff, stop whinging about it. How about, if I speak about Victoria specifically, the suburban rail loop, biggest waste of money ever. Who asked for that? Did people say to you, I want a train from Cheltenham Station to Box Hill and I want it to go under a tunnel? And I really want that? No one said that. And then what is it, from Box Hill to the CBD, or I'm not sure it's the airport or something, but who gives a shit? Who wants that? Who wants it? No one asked for it. We're all paying for it. In the billions and billions every year. Every single year for the next 20 years. We don't want to. Stop that. How about that? How about use that money to fund shit that you're now trying to get everybody else to stump up on the bill for because you can't manage your budgets? Getting charged up this morning. Fired up. Tax, this sort of stuff. It's one of the things that grinds my gears. Really grinds my gears, because you get bureaucrats and you get these office people who just, let's get more money off people. It's getting to breaking point. It is criminal.
Tony Holt and his wife Alex are from Wedderburn, northwest of Bendigo. They run a crop and sheep farm.
We're very proud of what we do.
Their property is not under one title, and that's when calculating the new Emergency Services Levy becomes complicated. The new levy is calculated by adding a fixed charge that varies by property type and a variable charge. This is calculated using a property's capital improved value.
We've got about 25 titles. What we're led to believe, we'll be exempt on one, or we will be able to access the subsidy on our place of residence, but all the other titles will be up for the new levy.
We've interviewed Tony. He's a farmer with 25 titles. Is it fair that he has charged the levy on every single one?
Look, just to be clear, the Fire Services Property Levy, which has applied for more than a decade, recommendation from the Royal Commission following Black Saturday fires, has applied in the same way that we are applying the Emergency Services Volunteer Fund. What's changed for individual property owners is the rate across many various properties.
So it really didn't answer the question at all. That's the PR spin that these people are very good at. Didn't answer the question, just said what it does. Didn't directly address anything. Didn't just say anything. A great political speak. No value at all to the community, these people. They're a complete drain on the public purse. How about we do an absolute cull of the people in the public service? They seem to be, by far and large, avoiding the axe. There's a lot of axes going on all over the country, a lot of large businesses firing people in the hundreds, if not thousands. All the big four banks are doing it. It's been kept pretty quiet, but I've heard a lot about it. I know a number of people have been redundant from your CBA, ANZ, your Commonwealth Bank, all that sort of stuff. And they're getting rid of hundreds of people at a time. Your Bank West and all these sort of places. Firing people. Infrastructure in Victoria is basically dead, or the only thing going is a suburban rail loop, which is sucking up all the funds. No other huge projects are going on for transport or roads or anything like that. So a lot of people in that industry are getting made redundant. You got AI making people redundant. Why do we make these people redundant? Why are we paying their wages to come up with ideas that hurt us? Life is as tough as it is. Everything's expensive and it's not stopping. It's only going to get more expensive. Everyone's getting squeezed. Yeah, let's just add more taxes and levies.
In May, the state government announced farmers impacted by the drought will pay a reduced levy for this year.
The fee bill for us to maintain our animals, and that is just astronomical, and I think our bill's running at about $75,000.
Is it unfairly targeting farmers?
Look, 73% of the funds that the Emergency Services Volunteer Fund will be raised from metropolitan Melbourne. This is proportionate to population between city and country.
Can you guarantee you won't increase this tax?
No.
Look, the rates are set each and every year, and a matter for a treasurer each and every year.
There we go. So the answer is no. They're going to continue to increase. And once they get this in, think about your council rates. Council rates, think about when we've had somewhat slight downturns. Let's say Victoria, the property market has been tracking sideways for a number of years, more or less, on average. So how is it that if the general market hasn't been doing too great from a capital growth perspective, for those of us who own properties, how is it that our rates notices keep going up a couple $100 every year when it is calculated off the value of the property, the capital improved value? Why is that? Because it's all bullshit. Because they just change the factor. So the way it works is they use your value of your property that they calculate through valuation, and they just increase the either they fudge your valuation so it's always going up even though it's not, or they use the factor that is applied to the value of a property which calculates a dollar amount. They just fudge that, because I've had a look at what that is, and that changes year on year. It's bloody dodgy. It's dodgy. Rates and taxes, they never go down. They continue to go. They always go up. Because you never truly own your house. If you don't pay your council rates, they'll probably sell your house from under you, even if you don't have a mortgage.
In relation to any increases, they're things that I'll be taking advice and consulting broadly on.
Okay. But can you guarantee there won't be an increase while you're Treasurer?
I'm not prepared to make pre-announcements.
The feedback to council directly from our community was one of, please help us. We don't want to pay this.
Daniel Straub is the Mayor of Lenshshire.
Good afternoon.
Which is Tony's local council.
How are you guys?
He says 70% of the community are farmers. Many have told him they will not pay the levy.
I can't say that at this point in time it'll bankrupt Lenshshire, but it will be a huge task to find that money out of our reserves, that's for sure.
The new levy means Lenshshire will be collecting an extra $5.2 million from about 6,000 ratepayers. Mayor Straub says if those ratepayers can't afford or refuse to pay, the council is ultimately responsible for the shortfall.
that will mean that we won't be able to spend that money on projects that have already been maybe announced or earmarked to be announced if we have to do that, and that won't be a sustainable model for any local government to continue to do that.
So have a think about that. So Jacinta Allen's government, they're going to get, the state government, they're going to get that money no matter what. And so the local council are more or less the insurance policy. Like, we're going to get the money. If the people don't give it to you, we're taking it from your existing funds. So give it to us. That sounds like complete standover tactics, doesn't it? Sounds like the mob. Sounds like an organised crime racket. We don't care if you can't afford it. Pay up. We're raising your protection money. Give it to us. Well, there's no. Government is just full of complete and utter snakes who have never lived in the real world.
We are legislated to collect any levy that the state government wants us to collect.
Jennifer Anderson is the president of the Municipal Association of Victoria.
Well, what happens is we collect all the amount that we've put in a rates notice, which is your council rates and any of the state taxes. So if they choose to pay some, then we must apportion some of that money to go to the state government, which means we get less in rates.
Will you be chasing councils that can't get that levy money from their ratepayers?
That will be a matter for councils.
They're worried that this
The answer's yes.
will really dip into services and things that they provide for the community. Are you concerned that communities will go without?
No, I don't see evidence of that.
Have you budgeted for a shortfall if the councils can't pay you this levy?
As I said, councils will be recouping rates as they always have, and I'll have any of the conversations in relation to concerns they've got about that.
Yeah, which was the questions that she was just telling you, that they don't think people, because the farmers have said they're not paying. So then what happens? The local council cops it, and they got to pay big daddy government no matter what. So she did answer the question. The answer is, yeah, we're going to take the money, and if anyone's got a concern about it, yeah, come and talk to us about it. We won't listen to you. Just bend over, spread your cheeks, we'll get a little bit of coconut oil, and we'll get started. The world we live in. Victoria, the communist state. Communist central. Run by bureaucrats without any idea of the real world. Well, we need some more money, so just give it to us.
In the city, councils are also finding themselves caught in the middle between the state government and ratepayers. Inner City Mayor Stephen Joly will pay around $200 more on his rates bill.
I live in an apartment in Fitzroy. 21% of my rate bill now goes to Jacinta Allen and not to the local town hall.
Yep.
7:30 approached some inner city councils who gave their projections on how much they will be forced to collect. The City of Melbourne projects its ratepayers will pay an extra $55 million. At Stonington City Council, that figure is $19.7 million, and the City of Yarra, an extra $14.6 million.
On top of the baseline. So have a think about that. It is just quite literally government hand in our pockets, guys. And they're pushing it through without people even noticing. Have a look at I got my rates bill. My rates bill went up about $300 this year. Now, my property didn't go up by that same amount of the same quantum. So what's going on there? Yeah, G-Man, give me some money. We need more money to waste on suburban rail loop. We need some more money to give to Palestine and over to the Ukraine. Don't worry about what's happening here. We need your money to give aid. Soon enough, we're all going to need aid. Because this country is a complete basket case. More specifically, Victoria is a basket case. And sometimes I do envy those people who left Victoria to have a sea change and go to Brisbane and other states. got away from here, especially during lockdowns. I know a number of people did it. Joint's completely stuffed. It has a shit vibe to it. Everyone's getting bent over by the government. Business environment sucks. A lot of redundancies. People are losing their job. We just fed lies all the time. We've got crime, immigration through the roof, massive housing issues. Yeah, but you know what? We're not going to solve any of that. Just give us some more money for us to waste on shit that doesn't matter.
It's a big hit to local businesses and to residents, not just to ratepayers, but also to renters, because you can imagine every landlord is going to handball this onto rents.
Back on the farm, Tony Holt still hopes the state government will back down.
No, they won't.
Just feels like rural Victoria.
Because they got cowards like that woman that was on the screen, the treasurer or whatever, who knows, I'll probably be taken away in a van for saying these things. But complete cowardice. They hide behind the government. They hide in the office doing this stuff. They can't face up to the impacts of the decisions that they're putting on people. Are literally driving people to the wall. Yeah, that's fine. You got your government paid high salary. Your extra superannuation loading that we're all paying for. Yeah, good on you. Once again, people who say, oh, the government should be doing this and that. No, all the government is there for is, number one, to extract tax from us, small businesses, and to line their own pockets. It's all self-interested. Do you think that Treasurer gives a shit about anybody? They don't care. They just need to get the revenue up because that's their job on the line. They need to increase revenue. They're the business manager of the state. They're the CFO. They need to get money. They need to get revenue. The board, Jacinta Allen, she said, you know what? We need more money. Get it. Come up with some way to get it and get it. So she's just doing that to protect her ass, to keep her job. All right, that's enough of a rant for me today, guys. Put your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear them. Cheers.